And welcome back into the Beers and Balls show. I got one of the most requested guests back in the building, Jeff. Jeff, he came on earlier the year, kind of when I started the show, talked about your New York Giants. Gonna do a little season recap on both the Giants and the Packers and kind of how we both viewed each other's teams throughout this season. But thanks for coming back. How the hell are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's been too long. We went years without seeing each other before the first episode, and I feel like it's been too long since we did our second episode. So I'm glad to be here, man. I'm excited.
We went from years down to just a couple months. I think we're steps in the right direction.
That's right.
But before we begin, as always, if you got a drink of your choice, whatever your drink of your choice is, cheers to anybody at home. Cheers to you.
Cheers, buddy.
So, Jeff, I want to start with, you're the guest. I want to start with your New York Giants. Give me a kind of synopsis. I know it was a roller coaster ride of a year, but kind of break it down a little bit, kind of how you viewed this season up to this point, or now that it's over, how you kind of viewed the whole year.
Well, when the season's over, that's when you really should analyze. Analyzing during the season, the emotions are running high. You're not thinking rationally because you're going game by game, you're going play by play, and I've seen your videos, man, your real-time videos, and you're just like me. You go crazy when you shouldn't, and, it's just
analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis, whatever it is. You
Yeah.
just get stuck in that moment.
That's right. So now that the season's over, it's interesting. I could turn the clock back. We did an episode on my podcast, and the crux of the episode was, what are the expectations of the Giants? What do I want to see this year? And when you looked at their schedule, it was absolutely brutal. I knew that from the beginning. It was one of the hardest schedules we've ever seen in the NFL. So I remember saying, I just want to see competitive football, right? It's a tall task to even, get 6 wins, if we can even get there. And, with Russell Wilson starting and transitioning to Jackson Dart, I just wanted to see them compete with the best teams. And they did that. Right, the record does not reflect a good season, but if you look at the game by game, the scores, the Giants were in almost every one of these games. And I look back and say, you know what, listen, it wasn't a good season record-wise, but the future is bright. We have a young stud quarterback, in my opinion. It's going to be a very attractive job for the next head coach. So while the season was definitely very disappointing, there's no other way to say it, just because of the heartbreaking losses they had, I can't sit here and say I'm mad about being a Giants fan, because I think the future for this team is bright. I really do.
I agree with you 100% there, Jeff. I really do. I mean, they were in every damn game. I mean, it was a dogfight in that Packers-Giants game. I mean, it was a tough fall game in there. I think Jameis was in there slinging the ball around. I mean, should have thrown about 4 or 5 interceptions. That's on the Packers not being able to catch the ball. Just to talk about the firing of Daboll. I know, because we had texted back pretty much throughout the season since our episode, and you were calling for Daboll. What was it that made him need to maybe change the scenery and be somewhere else, that it just wasn't working in New York?
Well, I think Brian Daboll is the prime example of a great coordinator and a lousy head coach.
He's a Matt Nagy coach. He's like Matt Nagy.
No doubt. He's a very good coordinator, and he did a good job with Jackson Dart. I think he's very good with quarterbacks. I think he should be the hottest coordinator on the market right now if someone's looking for an OC. But, it's kind of hard to pin what went wrong with Daboll. I just don't think he was good at managing the entire team or managing game, making decisions with the clock. We saw that against Denver. The Giants were up, I forget the score, but they were up like 3 possessions.
21 points. Yeah, something you don't want to think about.
Something you don't want to think about, but it's an important game because that's really where it went downhill. And you just saw Daboll's game management was abysmal. He got very overwhelmed, didn't really know what to do in specific situations. And I just, again, he's not a good CEO. He's a good manager, right? He's just not a good CEO. So I just think, again, I think he's a smart football guy. We saw progression with Dart, and I think that has a lot to do with the way Daboll was managing him. But it didn't work as a head coach, and that's okay. We can count. Listen, most of the time, man, when you're a coordinator and you become a head coach, the odds are it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right? It usually doesn't. And I think that was the case with Daboll, I think. I really do.
Yeah, I think with Daboll, I mean, this current Giants roster is full of a bunch of can be superstars. You look at the quarterback position, Jackson Dart can be a superstar. You get the media, the New York media site's going to help him become a superstar just by being there. Scattaboo, animal, people love him. I mean, how can you not love that guy?
He's in the WWE now. Like, this guy is all over the place.
And then you're going to have Malik Neighbors coming back. I mean, you're going to have at least 3, top stars, future stars coming up in the future. You just need to have that right piece to come in here and just contain them. Just contain them and push them in the right direction.
They just needed a coach. And if you look at the games this year, yes, they had the injuries with Neighbors and Scattaboo, and that did not help at all. But it's not like the offense became, deficient without those guys. They were still putting up 25, sometimes 30 points a game. So, and a lot of that has to do with how good Dart is. They just weren't managed properly. The games, almost every game was just poorly coached. It really was.
The Giants were middle of the pack in points at 17th in the league in points scored. Points against not as great, but that's no discount to them. Now, do you think they need a culture coach or a style coach, like a offensive minded coach, or do they need like a Dan Campbell-esque to come in there and just be the leader of the clubhouse, but not have his hands in either offense or defense? And I know he's called plays this year for half the season. But for the last 2 years that they were successful, he was just the CEO, where he's just what I'm going to say. You're going to go by it and be that culture leader.
Great question. I don't like to pinpoint or to pin down, I should say, one style of coach that I want, especially with the current state of the Giants. I think they just need an experienced guy. The Giants have had, if you count interim head coaches, okay, because guys got fired over the years mid-season, the Giants have had 6 head coaches since Tom Coughlin. And every one of them outside of Pat Shurmur was a coordinator turned head coach. And Shurmur only had a few years experience as a head coach before the Giants. So the Giants just don't nail the right coordinator to become a coach. So I'm not going to say we need an offensive guy, we need a defensive guy. If anything, I would say a culture guy, which I think comes from experience, right, as a head coach. So I really, for me, my number one guy is Mike McCarthy. We talked about that on the last episode.
Please bring Big Mike to New York.
Yeah, I think he'd do great here. And I also think, it's probably not going to happen now, but I was hoping last night's game against the Steelers and the Ravens, that would be the game of who stays and who goes. So I was hoping.
I still think it can. I don't know. Which one of these teams are going to be tired of just mediocrity when you have, Lamar Jackson and an MVP in Baltimore and always getting right there, and then something catastrophic happens. I knew at some point either the Rodgers defense was going to fail him on a great and last minute fourth quarter touchdown, or something that has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
The Ravens season.
Exactly. And I think it'd be a mistake to let Harbaugh go. But, listen, the Giants did the same thing with Coughlin. I didn't agree with it, but I understood it. Like, things get stale. You want to move on, but it's a mistake if they do it. Look at the Giants right now, right? Coughlin wouldn't be coaching now because he's older, but he definitely it's been a real problem since he left, and the Ravens will probably experience that too. But if he leaves, and I'm praying he leaves, man, the Giants have to interview him and not let him out of the building, right? I know there's rules to follow with the interviews and everything. Do all that, get that done, and do not let Harbaugh leave the room. But there's really, to me, 2 choices that I want. It's McCarthy or Harbaugh if he leaves. I'll throw one more at you.
It better not be Jeff Hafley. It better not be Jeff Hafley.
No. Listen, no. It's
good. Keep your dirty paws off my DC.
Not gonna tell. I told you I don't want a coordinator, brother. I know. I like him. Yeah. I like him, but no. We need an experienced guy. I would consider Stefanski, and I know
It's reported he's going to meet with him.
I'm not against it. I still think they should interview McCarthy, and if Harbaugh leaves, but I think Stefanski's actually a good coach. It's just like, dude, I don't care if you're Vince Lombardi, resurrected. You're not going to do well in Cleveland. It's just, there's no chance.
2 out of the last 5 years, he got Coach of the Year, 2020 and 2023. So that means he's doing, and you're taking a dumpster fire, you're taking a turd, and you're putting some polish on it.
Pretty much.
It's coming up better.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, it's okay. And I think if he goes to the Giants, you're going to see that coach again, because the Giants are primed to be a team that can be well coached by a good coach.
Yeah, and something I've been thinking about is, well, my first question is because I see it all on Packers Twitter. It just floods it where they're like, "Fire Matt LaFleur," and I'm like, are you dumb? First of all, I know you're mad in the moment because he loses in playoff games. So does 31 other coaches every year, or
Mm-hmm.
that 16 that make it to the playoffs, or 14, however many, whatever the number is. They lose. Only one team wins a year. Only one team wins, and especially if you have you're going through a dynasty like the Chiefs and coming right off the Pats dynasties, yeah, it kind of gets flooded. It's really hard not only to win in the NFL but to win a Super Bowl. It's hard. There's so many franchises don't ever see one. I mean, the Lions have never seen one. The Vikings have never seen one. The Bears have taken 40 years just looking at the NFC North. Even though the Bears did go in like 2008 or 7, 6, one of those odd times against the Colts. Now, when it came to firing Dayball, like when it came to that and how much of a difficult decision that has to be in mid-season, like when you see other fan bases, because I know it's not just the Packers that are wanting to get rid of really damn good coaches. Like, what is that? Like, how do you compare those two things? Where firing Dable and then a fan's reaction towards a really good coach midseason talking about being on the hot seat?
Yeah, so two things. First of all, if you're going to call for somebody's firing, you better have an idea of somebody you're going to hire next, because sometimes it's not going to work out, as well as it did with with your current coach. So my ground rule, number one, is I never call for somebody's firing unless I have an idea of somebody that I want, quite frankly. Because again, getting rid of a great coach or a good coach, it's not a lock. You're going to find another one that's going to do as good of a job. So for me, that's a huge thing. And then, listen, it's like you said, it's in the moment. You're angry, right? You're mad at a loss. But for someone like, let's say Mike McCarthy or LaFleur, Dan Campbell at this point, Mike Tomlin, Harbaugh, if you're a coach that can get my team to the dance floor every year, or at least 90% of the time, you should always come back, because you have to play those numbers. It's not like baseball or basketball where it's a series and usually the best team wins. It's one game, right? I mean, look,
Whoever
the
the
rate.
healthiest is at this point is usually going to get deeper if you're healthy.
Correct. And it's so easy to have a bad game, man. I mean, any team, any great team can have a bad game. So you can't look so deep into it when a coach gets bounced in the playoffs a lot, because eventually, it's like roulette, man. Your number's going to hit. You just got to keep playing the dice. If your coach is not getting into the playoffs consistently, then you have grounds to fire him. I get it. But if you're getting there,
give me the opportunity to have success. If you can't get me to, because there's only been of the 7 or 8 seasons that LaFleur has been a head coach, there's only been 1 year they didn't make the playoffs, and he had us in a win and get in situation, and Dan Campbell came and whooped our ass in Rodgers' last game. But that's all I can ask for is give me an opportunity to get in.
Dude, think about that. You just said it. You said it. 7. Well, he's been there for 7, 8 years or so.
7 or 8 years. It's when he's only his tenure here. He's one of the highest winning percentages. He has like a plus 60 win rate, like wins to losses. It's just like it's insane how good he is.
Playoffs one time, and I don't think it's the majority of Packers fans, but some Packers fans want to get rid of him. Like, okay, well, again, I would ask the Packers fans, who are you going to replace him with that's going to do better?
That's what I always ask.
And they never have an answer.
I always come back with, bring Big Mike back in.
No, listen, I don't even know if I would do that, even though I love Mike. You guys have a coach, man.
I just love
I know
Big
you
Mike.
do. You should.
I will, because he brought a championship to Green Bay. I could never turn on him. It was the end of the road with him, and Rodgers had to move on. It wasn't like he was a bad coach or anything. Now, something else I was thinking about when it comes to like these end of the years, and it's because basically right now, season's over for anybody that's not in the playoffs. Do you think there should be a waiting period before the window opens to bringing in your new coach? Because you get some situations where you're kind of screwing with any teams that's in the playoffs. Like if you're trying to get a coordinator, you're like messing with where their mind's at, where it should just be solely focused on the playoffs. But instead, they're thinking about you, because we see it in college football too. We saw it with Ohio State and Brian Hartline already looking forward to USF, and the whole offense got jumbled up. And I would just hate to see that play a main factor in the NFL. So I think there should be like a brevity period, because there's a long time from February, into the league year. March, it's a whole month, and you can probably have preliminary talks. But I think you give yourself a disadvantage, and it comes kind of unfair playing advantage because we've seen coaches that made the playoffs get fired too. So kind of fill your role. I think there maybe needs to be some regulation there.
I think there should be. There's no question because of the two reasons you just mentioned. Number one, there's still a season to go. Like the season's not over yet, right? And secondly, to have an interview or even just the idea of a coordinator that's currently in the playoffs, possibly coaching a team next year. Now, even if it's accidentally, his mind is off the current situation, which is to win a Super Bowl. Right now, he's thinking, okay, well, where should I go next? I have a couple of ideas of where I want to go. You got to win some playoff games, right? So I agree. I think it should start after the Super Bowl. That's when it becomes the feeding frenzy, when everyone can interview, go after whoever you want to go after. But I guess for me, we're never in the playoffs, so I don't like that rule. I want to.
That is late, but I mean, there's so much potential with this Giants team.
There is,
and like you're one of the best rushing teams in football. You're fifth. You average 130 yards a game. Like that, there's your starting point right there.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy had a good year, man. And when Scatterboo went out, he filled the role perfectly. Jackson Dart, I mean, he has a lot of our rushing yards too, dude. He really is, man.
He need to clear up some things, but he maybe not take so many big hits.
He's been doing better with that. Even if I don't know if you watched the game. I'm sure you did.
I didn't watch this past one, but I wanted to get into that one because it's always good to end the year on beating a rival foe. How do you look at that game? Because y'all looks like you beat the shit out of them, 34-17.
We did, and it's funny you mentioned that because there's so many Giant fans that wanted to tank and get the first overall pick. Not to draft.
You have the quarterback. You don't need you don't need a top 5 pick unless you need a quarterback because everything else after that first 5 picks, you still got premium picks for the next 7.
Exactly. But the idea was, okay, we can get the first overall pick. Fernando Mendoza is going to be there. We could trade with the Jets because they have a ton of draft picks from the Sauce Gardner trade, right? And move up. We move back. They move up, and we get a ton of draft picks. But here's the thing. The Giants have been in that mode for the past 12 years of tank for draft picks. And look where we are in 2025, 2026, tanking for draft picks again, right? So for me, winning feels good, right? I like winning. So I would rather see them win, right? Especially with the rookie quarterback. I want to get him in that mode of winning. I want him to finish the season strong, which he did. He had 2 phenomenal games, albeit against the Raiders and the Cowboys. But you know what? The Giants never beat the Cowboys, and we smacked them around yesterday. That felt good. I'd rather have that than, oh, great, we have a better draft pick. Listen, the Giants don't need the number 1 pick. Yeah. We have a good team in terms of talent, right? We're going to get somebody good at 5. We'll get, if it's the right pick, it could still be a game changer at 5.
Imagine having Carnell Tate and Malik Neighbors.
That's what I want, bro. You nailed it.
With Jackson, Dart, and Scotty, winning cures all. And I know, Dak Prescott didn't play, so that's what the Cowboy fans probably wanting to cry about is that Dak Prescott didn't do a whole lot. But who cares? He's still got to go out there and play against another set of grown men. But I agree with you. Who cares? Because if only a few of these Giants games go a different way. If it wasn't for that, from the Broncos to the Vikings, there's a lot of hope here. And I think a lot of that has to do with, firing your coach. Jackson has concussions. Russell Wilson stinks. There's a lot of into that. And it certainly doesn't help when you lose Malik Neighbors early. Your best player at the time on offense, at least.
I think that makes the Jackson Dart year more impressive, considering he had a bunch of punt returners as receivers outside of Wan'Dale Robinson, who's showing to be a good player.
All the misfit toys outside of Wan'Dale Robinson to throw to. You're exactly right, and then you had a good tight end there too in the building, right? Because I know he tore the Packers up a little bit.
Theo Johnson.
Everybody basically tearing up Packers that game.
yeah, that's true.
I think you and I could have went up there and ran a couple slants for a first down.
We would have had at least one catch, I think, in that game.
At least one.
But yeah, Theo Johnson, the tight end, he drops a little too many passes for me, but he's a young kid, so he'll learn from that, I think. But he's a good player.
Did you watch the Hard Knocks they did with the Giants?
I didn't see it, but I saw some clips.
Yeah.
I saw some of the clips.
I just don't know if I could ever get behind that and want to get past that fourth wall, because I don't want you to prove to me how stupid you are. I want to imagine that you're smarter than I'm starting to think you are, based off of getting backwards access into practice. Because then you look around and you're like, what are these guys even doing? They're all just standing around. for
I
2
know.
hours.
I'm afraid to watch it because the Giants have been so bad. Like, I'm just going to get more annoyed at something. You know, like seeing Joe Shane saying something stupid like he did with the Barkley thing. Like, that was the worst idea, putting a camera on that guy negotiating with Barkley. And again, I actually agreed with getting rid of
What
him.
is it?
But
Morrow sitting there. If he goes to Philly, nightmare.
yeah. And what does he do? He goes to Philly. So it was just
immediate best player in the league, Super Bowl. But it's good to see Philly kind of stinks. I mean, even they're the 3 seed. They got home. They're in the playoffs, but this is not the Philadelphia Eagles of last year. So
no, it's not.
Does that give you a line of sight going to next year? That is next year? What's your expectations for next year? I know we still got the draft and the free agency to go through, but
yeah. So it's not even the draft and the free agency that I'm thinking of. It's who the coach is. I think that's going to be, I can give you a more accurate answer on that once I see who the coach is. If they hire the right guy, doesn't mean it has to be McCarthy, but just a guy that I think can do a good job. I have very high expectations for the Giants next year. And I think I do regardless because the schedule is going to be easier. You saw the Giants do to, some bad teams. They smack them around, right? That's what good teams do. I just think the Giants this year were not ready for the schedule. It's kind of like, we're boxing guys, right? It's like, you train boxing. You become pretty good, right? You can spar, you can take some shots. And then all of a sudden, next week, they're like, all right, you're fighting Floyd Mayweather. Get ready.
You're fighting a killer.
You're getting your ass kicked. And that's kind of what happened to the Giants. They weren't ready for this. So next year with that schedule, I do expect them to win. And I expect them to make the playoffs, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, it should be wide open because you look at a lot of the schedules. I just have it pulled up on my other monitor here. That's brutal. That's a brutal.
This year's schedule for the Giants? Oh, man. It was a buzz. It was literally a buzzsaw, man. I mean, you look at the teams they played, it was all, even the Lions. The Lions didn't make the playoffs, but they're still a dangerous team. We know that.
We saw them beat the Bears last night or yesterday afternoon. I mean, they did that. Now, how fluid are you with the knowledge of like where the Giants cap space is at?
They don't have a lot of cap space. I know that. It's not good.
It looks like I just looked over just here. I don't know if maybe they front loaded Dexter Lawrence because he has no guaranteed money for the remaining on his contract. So I don't know if he's going to go knocking on Joe's door for another contract. And Burns is high at 22.5 or was a cap number 34. The one that blew me out of this world was Paulson Adebo's $24 million cap hit.
Yeah, that's a big number. And I think what's Darius Slayton's number if you have that up? Because that was a pretty big. They gave
16.
him
his guaranteed's 9, 16.
Okay,
so,
all right. So
you'll lose $15 million by cutting him.
Yeah, but their cap space isn't good. They're going to have to build this thing with good draft picks and the right coach, which, by the way, you can do. I mean, you see rookies come in all the time and light it up, But I think the Giants will go receiver heavy. I think they'll more than likely. And the draft, man, like there's receivers everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
And if you can't get a blue chip, you might as well get one in the 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah. So the cap space, and by the way, that's because of the GM. Just he's not a good GM.
I'm surprised they kept him around.
You know what it is, bro? If you weren't going to get rid of him when you got rid of Dable, you had to keep him because let's say they fired him today. You're adding another layer on top of getting a head coach. Now you have to get the GM. Then you have to get on board with the GM, with the head coach that you want. I'm kind of happy they didn't fire him today. I would have got rid of him when they got rid of Dable.
If you're going to get rid of one, you got to get rid of both.
Well, listen, man, not to give you the whole Giants history, but let me tell you what the Giants do really since Coughlin got fired. They fire the head coach after a couple of years. They keep the GM, and then the GM is fired the next year. They've done this 3 times with Jerry Reese, Dave Gettleman, and they're doing the same damn thing with Joe Shane. They just don't learn lessons. Listen, when you fire a head coach, to me, you should always fire the GM because now you're bringing in a coach that he's like, the GM feels like he has to do something desperate now, right? Mm-hmm. And it just screws everything up for the future. So I think
the coach is more pressured because he knows probably that GM might be that GM's last year, so he gets more pressure, and the GM's going to fire him before the ownership fires the GM. It's a landslide of shit.
Exactly, but I think the Giants' mentality. They want to show some level of stability for the next head coach coming in here. So I think it's a bad look when you see the entire organization packing their bags and leaving because the coach might say, well, damn, am I gone too if I have a bad year or two? So I think now at this point to keep Joe Shane makes sense. And he's also had some decent draft picks, and the Brian Burns deal was a great, great deal. I can't give him credit for Jackson Dart because he wanted Shador Sanders, and Brian Dable sold him on Jackson Dart. So I'll always have love for Dable because of that. But, overall, Joe Shane has not done a good job. It's the record that you have to look at first and foremost.
Surely.
But at this point, just keep the guy, give him one more year, let him hire the head coach. He knows he's got to make the right choice now because this is his lifeline. He's a sitting duck at this point. So, not happy he's back overall, but at this point, you might as well run it one more time.
Yeah, I know you said you didn't care to get Jeff Hafley, but what he would be able to do with that front four would just be there's four like Micah Parsons-esque players in Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Thibodeau, Big Dex. I mean, he would have a field day with those guys, and he's I think he was a head coach at Boston College, so he's kind of like that up northeast type style guy. So he would probably take it. And it is there. Would you want Raheem Morris? Because I don't think he should have been fired in Atlanta. I thought that was absurd for them to fire him.
Yeah, that was strange. It was. I really wouldn't. I'll tell you, Eddie, my choices for the coach are very, very narrow. I don't have this wide scale of people that I want. There's only a couple.
So it's good that you're not making decisions because it's so narrow where it's I want Mike McCarthy or Kevin Stefanski or somebody that's been a coach with shown success.
Yeah, I would be the most pain in the ass GM. And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. Yeah, no.
No flyers. No flyers on semi-successful defense or offensive coordinators.
Well, listen, man, I'm not even against flyers normally. Okay, I was okay with almost every single one of the Giants' hires up until, really after like even Dable, I was happy with. I was happy with that
success on offense and quarterbacks.
Yeah. 100%. I was happy with that hire, but the Giants have failed on all the flyers since Tom Coughlin. So it's obviously not working, so it's like the definition of insanity, keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's
what's been happening.
That's what's been happening. Yeah. So for me, man, it's experience. Like I said, Kevin Stefanski, if it comes down to him, he wouldn't be my first choice, but if it came down to him, I'd be okay with it. But to me, it's McCarthy, number one. Unless Harbaugh gets fired, then to me, Harbaugh's the obvious choice.
Yeah, but I know Big Mike's rejuvenated, and he had a good when he took a year off before going to Dallas, and then he went to Dallas that first year. He lit the offense on fire, so I think he's got something cooking up. Now to kind of transfer over to my Green Bay Packers, what kind of stuff did you see from there? The good, bad, ugly, or however you saw that this team played this year.
I liked it. I really did. I thought the Packers played very well this year. I know they had some games where it made you scratch your head. You and I talked about that. But I really like Jordan Love. I think he fits the culture perfectly. And I think a lot of that has to do with Rodgers, sitting behind him for all those years, learning how to play the game the right way. Whether you like Rodgers or not, the guy is a pro's pro as far as playing. And I like the Packers, man. I really do. I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl. It wouldn't shock me, but they wouldn't be my pick.
I agree.
But they're playing the Bears, right? That's their
that's the first
game.
one. Yep.
Dude, I like the Packers winning that game, bro. I'm not sold 100% on the Bears. I like them. I think Caleb Williams is really showing a lot under his new coach. But you like the Packers? You think they're going to win? You do.
I like them a lot. I like them as a Super Bowl favorite going into the Denver Broncos game. And then ever since that game, it's been just an absolute living hell of being a Packers fan because you lose Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And just anybody that could get injured got injured. I mean, I think we got like some 10 like key starters on season-ending IR. We're talking about 7 of your best 10 players done for the year. And we're just kind of limping into it. And I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, I haven't had like fun doing this since December 6th. That was the last time the Packers won a game. I'm like, I'm not having fun. This is the worst month it's ever been for sports until yesterday. Cause I had talked about it with one of my buddies. And I was like, if I can get something similar like this, like a playoff path to get me there, I'm like, I'll be real happy. Cause I knew we were going to lose yesterday. I mean, I think the Packers backup quarterback or third quarterback Clayton Tune had like the worst quarterback performance in history for playing the whole game. He had a QBR rating of 8. Um,
Eight.
just,
I don't even know you can get that.
you needed you needed a sundial to figure out how fast you get rid of the ball. So
Yeah.
it was not a good one, but the defense showed good, at least in the backups. But I wanted to get the Bears, and it was an absolute hate watch yesterday because I was like, all right, I want the Lions to win, but I need Washington to beat the Eagles. And up until like midway through the third, neither of those things were happening.
Yeah. The good news is both leagues or both conferences, it's wide open, man. I can't
pinpoint. AFC is a little bit tighter. I think AFC has more top heavy, really good teams.
Yeah.
And the NFC has like a couple of, if they play their best, they're good, but they're not great. But I think the Broncos have a great defense.
Yeah.
Mid offense. Patriots have a great offense against this weak schedule that they played against. But it's really hard to throw as many touchdowns as Drake May does in his second year. It's for him to perform the way he is. It isn't by accident. You're still having to play against NFL teams. That's like I don't look too much into weak schedules.
I know. I'm the same way. It's just you play the teams in front of you, and listen, bad teams or even mediocre teams lose the games they're not supposed to lose. The great teams beat the teams they're supposed to beat. I don't care who it is. Right? It's like any given Sunday, man. You can always lose. So
that's why the Packers aren't great this year. They could not handle business against sub-average teams. Like against the Giants, they should have probably won that game if you look at it on paper. Probably by like 20 points. That's why football's not played on paper. But they never got their shit kicked in, and they never kicked the shit at anybody. That was the epitome of the entire Packers game, because I think that the only game they lost by was that Ravens game 2 weeks ago. That's only that they lost by more than 6 points. And the game they lost to the Bears, they whooped their ass for 58 minutes. But that's why the game played for 60. It's a clusterfuck. The Packers find new ways to show me how to lose football games when they lose them.
But the good news is when the playoff starts, man, it's a whole different season. It really is. It's almost like a mental thing for these players and fans where you're like, all right, whatever happened in the past, good games, bad games, the ups, the downs, it really doesn't matter, right? Especially with this, I'm looking at the teams now, like even the Rams, man. The Rams I thought were juggernauts, and they're really not. They didn't finish the season strong. The Panthers are the Panthers. The Eagles aren't the Eagles.
Nobody has any closers. Like the last closer in the NFC was Micah Parsons. There's no closer that you can put on the field that's going to wreck a game like a Micah Parsons is, and that's why he's so important as he was for the Green Bay Packers, because we won. I mean, a large part of the win against New York was he got a sack on Jameis right there at the end. That he came in and closed the game out. And he did that against Arizona. He did it multiple times this year.
Yeah.
And Rashawn Gary stinks.
The one thing that had to piss you off in that Packer game, the Packer-Giant game, and I think we texted about this after it happened, Guinness Book of World Records break of the quarterback sneak by Jameis Winston, if you remember that. It was like a 10-yard quarterback sneak.
Surprised me.
Because that was whatever it was. I think it was it might have been fourth down. It was like 4th and inches. They ran a quarter.
Scored. He should have went home and scored.
4th and 1 or whatever it was. Thinking, all right, quarterback sneak, get a yard or two, right?
Dude,
this guy runs for 10 yards in quarterback sneak formation. You didn't. You know what? I remember you laughing, like you were texting me, like I'm not even mad. I'm like, this is just hilarious. It was funny.
I'm used to dumb shit like that happening to the Packers, where it's just like, how? Okay.
Yeah.
But because part of it is I really love Jameis Winston. Like, it is really hard, really, really hard to root against him. Because not only is he like a really good quarterback, really good NFL player, he's just an even better person. It's just like, I want to see this guy succeed. Like he's just such a nice overall, like he's like a light in the world that you can always rely on to have a good attitude. Good outlook.
That's why I actually want to keep Jameis Winston as the backup. And he said earlier in the year when Jackson Dart came in, and I think Jameis was promoted to backup. I could be wrong, but eventually he was. And he said, I'm good being a backup. I'm very content. Most quarterbacks don't say that, right? They won't say, this isn't fair. They won't cause a scene. But you could tell subliminally they're not happy. He was happy to be a backup. And I think having him in there is important. It's important to have a guy that's just going to, like you said, man, bring light into the locker room when things aren't going well. keeps you like Jackson Dart's a super positive guy, right? And I think that has to do with Jameis being like, hey man, listen, you're playing a game you love, dude. Just have fun, right? He's having fun out there. So Jameis has been a very, very good piece to the Giants. He really has. So I would love to keep him, man, for another year.
He's a great piece of the entire universe. But and I think one thing that maybe thinks that is because he's played at so many different places. He's played in Cleveland. He's played in New Orleans. Played in Tampa. I'm sure he played somewhere else in between. Where now he's got kids. He loves New York. I mean, you can't really pick a better place to not like live in the off season or enjoy your time in, and just be like, well, I've done the starting quarterback. That's not me. I'm not a starting quarterback, but I could be really good when you need me to come play for a few games like he did this year, where at least you give him a chance,
right.
He's going to go score points. He's going to catch wide receiver passes for touchdowns. And
that was great.
He brings just such a mentality to help mentor Jackson Dart while he's playing still. While he's developing into this quarterback he's going to be. Jackson doesn't have to worry about Jameis coming in and winning the starting job over him. He can just continue to develop because up until he gets an extension, he's the franchise quarterback, and you go from there. Then it keeps that quarterback room, which I think is the most important room in football, like cohesive and keeps it fluid, and everybody loves everybody because they're making TikToks together. I mean, those guys are great for each other.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you have a non-biased opinion of what the Super Bowl is going to be this year?
Yeah, you bring up a great point because it's really tough. I mean, my bias one is the Packers, but I also see the Packers the way their path is. It's not the most difficult path they've ever seen. If they can get through the Bears, which I think they can, because there's not a person outside of maybe the janitors inside the facility that have seen a playoff game there. So I think, one, you get the experience because this is the third time all these guys have played in playoff games, except for the 5 rookies we got. So I think, and that matters. Playoff experience matters.
No doubt.
You're playing on the road. Chicago's not the toughest place to play in. And then you go to Seattle, right? Then you're playing Sam Darnold and that great defense. I think the Packers offense, when they're clicking and playing at their best, they can torch any defense for 60 minutes. When they're doing that, that's the important part. When the drops aren't there, run game's going, and I don't think Seattle has the most explosive. I think our defense can contain them, so it's like a shootout. How much? Like I think it's like if the Packers can get 3 or 4 stops in each one of these games, and then it comes down to the Rams, and you play in LA, that's a home game for the Packers in the NFC Championship game. So it doesn't seem like the most biased pass because, like we said, none of these teams are great. If I had to choose one that was unbiased to the Packers, probably the Eagles. Just because they have all the defense is starting to play at a high level like they did last year, but their offense can't do anything. But if you don't give up any points, you don't have to score that many points. And they got the Niners who's beat up. I mean, that's basically a high school football team for the defense. They just had 2 more players get lost for the season this year. So old man Eric Kendrick's going to be playing linebacker, so I'd go after him every damn play.
Yeah.
And then in the AFC, yeah.
A little tricky, right?
Yeah, the Broncos will keep them in it because their defense is so good.
Yeah,
and they can play at home. But I think the AFC team I like the most, I like the Steelers a lot.
You do?
I like
them
a lot.
I'm rooting for the Steelers, but wow, you like them to make to non-biased go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, TJ Watt, since he played, there's a big difference in when TJ Watt came back for that defense.
No doubt.
And you're getting after one of the better lines in the league in Baltimore, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's a very, a variance offense. And you kept track with them the whole way. Even you were playing at home, so you get that advantage. But there's something about it with that old man Rodgers. He's been playing really good. If he played like this, he played the last maybe 7-8 games for 14 games, 13 games, he's in an MVP conversation. I mean, he's
playing angry, and you've seen the angry Rodgers. He's like the Hulk, man. Like
he's
you don't want to make him angry, now. And he gets mad, and not a lot of players play well when they're mad, but he's different. He gets pissed and he lights it up, man. That's what he does. He's been doing it his whole career,
and he's won the last 3 games the last 2 games without DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
that's a big difference. And
huge,
he's making it
massive.
The thing is, he's making it happen. The defense is getting better as it gets along. You know, they get at least one home game, and it's going to be against Houston. And I think they'll do well against that. You know, you put a team that plays in the dome outside, your success goes up.
Yep.
What do you think?
I'm gonna give you 2 picks, actually, two different kinds of predictions. What I think's gonna happen, I think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl in the NFC. I think the coach.
Hard to bet against them.
It is, man. It is, and I think Stafford is on another level this year. I mean, one of the best seasons we've ever seen from a quarterback. Obviously, we know how good McVay is. So I think they get.
Though. That's a cross country travel
It
outside
is.
in the cold. But they played against them great last year, though, in the NFC Championship. They played really good against them.
Because they're always prepared.
Yep.
They're prepared with that coach. So I like the Rams in the NFC. The AFC, I like the Bills, man. I think it's Josh Allen's year. I know the Bills have their deficiencies.
I can't pick them. I can't.
I know.
Every year. But this is, like you said, it's the best year for Josh Allen, though.
Because there's no Mahomes.
No Mahomes, no Burrow, no Lamar, just old man Rodgers.
Right, just old man Rodgers. And that's why I actually think they're going to make it, because I think Allen, first of all, is playing with a chip on his shoulder, too. You don't really see – like Rodgers is more, demonstrative with his, anger. He looks mad. I think Josh Allen is playing with fire. I really do, in terms of being fired up, right?
Yeah,
so I like the Bills, man.
Too. Yeah, they got the best run game in football. So
yep. I like the Bills and the Rams, and I'm going to give you my dark horse Super Bowl. Me too. This is what makes football great, right? Because it can happen. My dark horse is your Packers. I think you nailed it, man. I think if they beat the Bears, the path isn't crazy. I would love to see them make it, and it's just Green Bay, dude. Like, Green Bay is a historic franchise. Would love to see that team get there. The Packers and the Texans. That Texans defense, dude, is
I'd be horrified
legit.
going into that game.
Bro, I'm going to tell you, man, that is the last team I'd want to face in the playoffs, because that defense is so stout. They're the best defense in the league. One of the best defenses I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I'm not – it sounds like a crazy statement, but if you watch them, it's not that crazy. They are a phenomenal defense.
If you can't
like Stroud
against them, it's just not happening.
Nope, you're getting cooked. Like, you better score. I mean, listen, that kind of a game, man, you can score – I don't know how you score against them, dude. It's so hard to beat that team defensively.
Riley Leonard lit them up a little bit. They lit them up a little bit. But I think the thing is, with that Houston Texans defense, when you got a talent like Will Anderson, who's just a premier edge rusher, he is going to get his plays. It comes down to, when does he get his play? Is it on a 3rd and 4 on a needed third down, or is it on a 2nd and 7 and it's a sack for a loss of 1, or a couple yards where you're still within a manageable 3rd and down? That's how I look at all these really good premier players, is they're all going to get their piece of the pie. Mm-hmm. How do they get it is what matters and changes the game. But I mean, C.J. Stroud has come in since that concussion and saw Davis Mills lighting it up for him for that 3-game stretch. It was like, where the hell was this when I was here? And now it's starting to come together. They got some really young receivers that are playing good. That Texans team reminds me of the Packers. Like, this year, we got a lot of young talent at receiver, and then you got some good edge rushers, and it's just everything's complementing each other. Packers got hit with a shotgun shell to everybody that matters. So I don't think the Packers actually win the Super Bowl this year as much as I want them to. Just because they are missing so much. They're missing their best players. I mean, if you throw Tucker Kraft out there, you throw Micah Parsons out there, Devontae Wyatt, just to name just those 3 guys, But we brought in Trayvon Diggs, and he looked half decent on Sunday against Justin Jefferson. Yeah. He actually did.
Listen, maybe, you know what? Maybe he just had to get out of Dallas, right? Who knows? Like, that may be the case, because he was not good in Dallas at all.
Well, let me ask you something. If you're not happy at work, are you going to work as hard?
Nope. No chance.
I think it's just as simple as that. You know, if I hate where I'm working, you're getting bare minimum until you fire me. And that's kind of what happened, is he gave bare minimum, and he came out, he made 4 tackles where he's a willing tackler. It wasn't run up on him. It was downhill going attack. And I was like, okay, the Packers haven't had that this year. We're going to Super Bowl now. That was my variance, is corners are tackling, we're going to Super Bowl. And if we can just get some semblance of cornerback play, that's going to be huge, because our corners are just getting bullied.
Yeah.
And they can't tackle.
Yep. But listen, man, I like it. It's so hard to pick somebody this year because, like I said earlier,
Everybody
I just see
stinks.
this. Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's a juggernaut. Which, by the way, if you're somebody like me who's watching from the outside, which I tend to do pretty much every year because we never make the playoffs, it's going to be a great playoffs to watch because it's up in the air, right? It's not like you're watching the Chiefs. Like, all right, you know what's going to happen. The Chiefs are going to make it. Even the Eagles.
Boring.
Yeah, dude, exactly. So the fact that
with you not having a team in the race, I mean, are you going to go with the local team, the Panthers? Maybe see if
listen,
they
I
can
got to
get it
go with the
done.
Panthers, man. Yeah, and listen, who's not rooting? I mean, you're not, but
No, I'm not.
who? But if you're a Giants fan or anybody else outside the playoffs, I think everyone's rooting for the Panthers,
Yeah,
right? Like
I mean, I've
me,
been very
obviously.
critical of them this year. I've been very, very critical of them because I don't think Bryce Young's that good.
No, I don't either. But I think the coach is very good. I like Canales a lot. But Bryce Young stinks, dude. I'm sorry. I know he's been okay this year. He's been solid, probably definitely his best year. But I don't see him being the consistent answer at quarterback. I really don't. First of all, he's too small, man. And I think,
Yeah.
like size of a quarterback is it's important. There's not a lot of small, great quarterbacks. But I think that coach knows what the hell he's doing. The fact that he
Yeah.
got this much out of Bryce Young
Right.
shows the kind of coach he is.
You know, when you're young and you're kind of growing up, you're going to amusement parks. It's like, okay, you can, the little kiddie rides, anybody can get on those. But then, to ride the adult rides, you must be this tall. I think the
Right.
NFL needs to institute that. Just
Oh,
because
man.
Drew Brees is one of the best to do it as a short quarterback doesn't mean every 5'8" quarterback coming out is going to be Drew Brees. Because I saw so many times Bryce Young jumping to get the ball over the line. And I'm like, this is just, no, you got to end it there. You got to be like 6'2" or higher to play quarterback because these linemen are 6'7", 6'8" sometimes. It's
Exactly.
you just like stacking your already problems that you have there. But I'm gonna pull for him because a large part of our fan base is Panthers fans. My buddy I do a regular show with, he's a Panthers fan, so I love to see their success. Love to see people
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, I'm definitely listen. I'm rooting for you guys too, and not just because you and I are buddies, but I like the Packers, man. I love, dude. You're such a big Packers fan. I'd love to see you have that. You've had the feeling before,
Yeah,
but
it's been a
it's
long time.
been a long time. Join the club. I get it.
It's been a
But the
while.
Packers, I'm a fan of historic franchises in the mix because I'm just like you, man. I'm an NFL historian. I love the old uniforms. I love old players. I got books for shelves worth of books of old stuff, right? So when I see the Packers in it, obviously the Giants, because I'm a fan, but I think you feel the same way. Like when the Giants are in it, the NFL is better. Same thing with the Packers.
Hell, when you brought up Tom Coughlin, the only thing I could think of was his frozen face and Lambo whooping our ass.
Oh, dude, that was man. I can't believe that shows.
Last Brett Favre game where it ended on a pick. I'm pretty sure that was his last.
That was his last game.
Last
the
game
NFC
was the Packers, I think so. Yeah.
Was it really?
Yep.
Really? I was
okay.
Okay.
It ended on an interception. So I know that game ended on an interception. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was like 10 years old, something like that. And then 11, 12, maybe. I don't know. I was young because I don't remember what year it was.
The frozen face. Oh my God. I'll never forget that. I don't know how his age, man, that was kind of dangerous having him out there. But
yeah.
dude, Tom Coughlin's, he's tough, dude. Like Tom Coughlin's a tough guy, bro. He's not, he was
take
good.
The Jags job after leaving New York?
No.
Or was that before New York?
It was, well, what he did was he was the coach of the Jaguars and had success there. And the Giants got him the year they drafted Eli. After him and the Giants really fired, but they parted ways, as they say. He went back as a consultant for the Jaguars. He was like a
Urban too. Is that Urban time frame too? Because I get like all these
years. I don't think so.
Mumbled up.
But the problem with Coughlin was he just didn't relate to these young players, man, like the divas and, showing up with like, the man purses and the dresses. And Coughlin's like, I'm like, what they call them, the pregame fits or whatever, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's some
Coughlin, like, dude,
wilder every year.
He wants you wearing a suit and tie. And the players just did not adapt. Yeah, the players didn't adapt to that, so he eventually left the NFL. But yeah, he went back to the Jaguars as a consultant, but not a coach.
So I have my little bit of season to recap here as the NFL in general is I've had a big problem all year with how forward progression is getting officiated. On how, because years ago you weren't allowed to pull or push players from like coming in behind. I think it's dumb. I think it's unsafe. People, can go on about, oh, it's a grown man playing sports. However, it really dictates the game in the wrong direction. Where how many times do you see a running back get hit by a guy or two, not move for what feels like an eternity, but then here comes 600 pounds of linemen coming to move him, and now the running back's in the air, it's not even running anymore, and they're spotting the ball there. I think forward progression, because as soon as he goes backwards, they're blowing it quick as soon as that player starts going backwards. So I just think it's really bad for the game, to where we should not be able to push or pull players in a direction like on the offense. Like you can't pull a running back into the end zone as a lineman. You shouldn't be able to push him either. And
I agree.
And I think that one defeats the tush push, which is just a dumb play. In general, it's just a dumb play. That's rugby. We play football.
Yep.
That's rugby.
Correct.
Because the QB sneak is way different than the tush push.
Much different.
It's just the quarterback. So you can keep the QB sneak in, but I hate it. I don't know if you saw that over this year, and if you agree or disagree with me on it.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I definitely see it. Didn't really think about it, but you're right. Agreed 100%. And there's a lot of problems with the NFL. There really is, as far as things they have to change. The tush push, that has to be banned. We talked about that on the last episode here. Not even just because it works. If it works, man, you got to stop it. But the problem is you're blocking the vision of everything like the refs can see and can't see.
You just
like
can't
the Giants,
appreciate it. You can't,
right? The Giants got screwed on that because of the fumble. If you remember that happened in that game. There's a lot of problems the NFL has to fix. First of all, they got to stop being so soft with these players. Everything is a penalty. And
you see Saturday night on Ted McMillan, that pass interference.
My dude, that was so bad. You can't. And listen, man, like
that was the worst officiating game I've seen in a long time.
And dude, I know officiating a game is hard. I can't do it. I wouldn't want to do it. It's hard to watch in real time and make these calls. I get it. But you got to have somebody in New York. They say they do, but they really don't. If there's a mistake, you got to call it out right away and say, nope, not a penalty. You have to reverse that. It's just like, remember they had the challenge. You can challenge penalties 6 years ago. That was a bunch of BS.
Yeah, pass interference.
They never reversed it. They never reversed it.
Because you don't know. Because no penalty is by the book. There's not one. That's why it's subjective. But when it's clear and obvious like this, because when a corner is pressed on a receiver, he can beat the hell out of you for a yard. But if you are a grown man and push him out of the way, that's offensive pass interference.
It's unbelievable.
It's not even true by the rule book. You have a yard. That 1 yard, you can fist fight, basically, right there, within that 1 yard. And then everything, and then you got guys getting their helmets ripped off, and the refs just like, play on, man, play on.
Yeah.
But then they just have, you get soft. It's just getting like, I'm okay with missing little things. Maybe missing a hand to the face on linemen. But when you cannot miss the big ones, you cannot mess up the big ones.
Yep, you can't miss them. And the problem is, too, every time there's a play, I'm looking at the bottom of the screen waiting for the flag. That, to me, is the biggest issue.
Any pass that I don't see completed inside the TV box, anything deeper than 20 yards, I'm like, oh, man, what's it going to be? And that's bad for the game.
It is. Even on, the punt returns or the kick returns on the kickoff,
I don't watch
if it's a touchdown, I know. There's going to be a flag. If that went to the house, there's almost, I would say maybe a 60% to 70% chance you're getting a flag. But, listen, the NFL doesn't really care about changing things because they're making money hand over fist, right? So they're not going to rock the boat. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. We'll keep watching. I'm not going to stop watching the Giants because the refs are terrible, right? I watch more every year.
As long as the check still clears, they're going to keep going. Yeah, I have a buddy of mine that's a Packers fan, and this year he said, I'm just done. Special teams have hurt me too much. I'm just going to the bathroom. And I started doing that. I'm like, yep, if I can't see it, it won't hurt me.
Dude, I have, what I do? And this is where I'm sick in the head. Bro, let me tell you something, man. I close my eyes when the Giants kick a field goal.
Well,
I don't even put I don't even put the TV on mute. I just cover my ears because I don't want to hear anything. I cover my ears, I close my eyes, and I look at the scoreboard because I'm so nervous they're going to miss it. I'm like, just please get it, right? So I can relate to that guy, man. I'm just not watching.
I don't mean to try to be funny or anything. Was it Young Wei Koo? Was that a Giants game? That was.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember I thought I saw something from you about it. That's why. So like this,
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
you
Listen,
do what you
it's
do.
almost, it's almost impressive that you can stub your toe before kicking a football and missing it like it's a golf shot. It was almost, I was laughing, dude. Like I wasn't even mad. I'm like,
He
did this
chunked
really
it.
just happen? Oh my God. I
That's
mean,
how it
that
is sometimes.
was,
That just keeps you from going insane and just laughing about
you
just
got to laugh.
how the hell did you figure out? And he was so good in Atlanta for years. How do you just fall off?
Well, I mean, the Giants were in a kicking crisis. They lost Gano. They had that kid. I don't even remember his name. He was like a soccer player. They brought him in, and he was a disaster. They have a kicker now who hasn't missed a kick in like 3 weeks. So I think we
Right.
finally got the guy. But yeah, young Wei Koo, whatever his name is, young Wei Koo. I was kind of happy when they got him because I remember him. I'm like, damn, this guy's good. And then I'm watching. I'm like, oh yeah, now I know why we have him because nobody else wants him. So we pick him up.
Is there a real rivalry between the Jets and Giants?
That's a great question. I don't know how to. It's not a rivalry necessarily because we have nothing to do with each other. As far as repercussions.
Yankees? Is it kind of similar to Mets Yankees where
yes,
there's like you're there, I'll punch you, but don't make me.
Correct. It's one of those things. So there's definitely an inner city thing where it's like, big brother, little brother. And trust me, the Giants are still the big brother.
100%.
I think that's the Jets. We can talk about them. They're a disaster. But the Giants and the Jets, yeah, there's definitely a rivalry. There's no doubt, playing in the same stadium, the same city. We're all together in one state, the small state of New Jersey, right? We're all fucking compact in there. So there's a rivalry. It's just not the rivalry like a Bears Packers or Giants Cowboys rivalry. Yeah. It's just trash talk a little bit. You know what I mean?
I feel it's kind of maybe similar to like the Rams and Chargers.
Yeah.
Where it's just like we're here. We don't see each other, but like I know you're here, but don't mess up. And then the last thing before I go, how was your holidays?
It was great, man. It was. I went back to Jersey for 2 weeks. I think I told you that, and we were texting about scheduling this. I had a 10-hour delay heading back to Jersey.
Hell yeah!
10-hour delay, man. We got to the airport.
Was it weather?
No, the captain's seat wasn't working, whatever that means, and we all boarded the plane.
You don't get to recline.
Correct. It was ridiculous. So we get off the plane.
The plane flies itself anyway for like 90% of it.
That's what I said. So I won't go through the whole story, but I'll go through part of it. So we get off. We have to deboard the plane because the mechanics have to come on and fix it. So we reboard after it's fixed. The captain gets on the loudspeaker. I think we're taking off now. Like we're good. The captain gets on and goes, unfortunately, when you hear unfortunately on a plane, you know you're in trouble. They forgot to fill out the FAA paperwork. So now we have to wait another 2 hours.
How do you...
You know what, man? I was so angry. I was like 9 drinks deep. I'm like, I'm not asking any questions. And like, you can complain on the air. What are they going to do? They can't do anything, right?
The only thing you're going to do by complaining after having a couple of drinks is they just tell you you're drunk and you can't fly.
Yes. So long story short, 10-hour delay. But I spent 2 weeks with the family. I see them a few times a year, and to be with them for 2 weeks was awesome. And how was yours, man? Did you stay down here or did you?
Yeah, well, I came down to Charlotte, saw the fam.
Nice.
Came back up here to good old Vietnam and saw.
Wait, came down to Charlotte. You don't live in Charlotte anymore?
No. Once I got out of the Army, I just stayed here near Fort Bragg.
Really?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's like it'd be like 3 times the cost of living.
I was just gonna say, man, I may look for some places out there, man, because it's getting expensive over here, dude. It's like I came down here from New York to avoid the expenses, and.
Do you stay like uptown-ish area? Or are you still down in like South Charlotte?
I'm in South Park.
South Park, yeah, that's where my buddy lives. He lives. Well, I guess it's not South Park; it's South End.
South End. Okay.
So like
so I'm close enough. Adjacent. I'm close enough to the city where I'm not in it. I don't want to be in the city. But we're there in case. If I want to go, maybe a Panther game or whatever. Like I'm right here, but not too close to where it's too crazy.
Not too far. Well, last thing I know, I just said last thing, but last thing. Man, what's your before you look too much further? Let's say you get Kevin Stefanski, right? Let's say hypothetically, who's your coach? And, without the draft, but looking at free agency, what's the position that's going to take this team over the top?
Wide receiver. Wide receiver. There's no doubt. If you could pair up somebody with Neighbors, I got to think of some players, but there's guys out there you can always
Romeo
get.
Dobbs is going to be a free agent.
Hey, I'll take him, man. Uh, you know,
But do you
I
want
think
a
wide
vet?
receiver.
Do you want a good vet? Not a guy that's going to cost you $27 million. Maybe somebody's going to cost you maybe 20, 22.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't want to spend. I don't want to spend a lot of money on a receiver. It usually doesn't work. It's
You ain't going to have a lot
especially
to
with the
spend either.
Giants. Correct. We're not going to be able to afford it. But I want some. That's why I said earlier, like I want them to go draft or wide receiver heavy in the draft. But I think if we can get a receiver to be paired up with Neighbors, have Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot, the Giants could be dangerous on offense, man. They really can. And I think they could be dangerous without another receiver, barring Neighbors staying healthy. But if you can get one more guy to open up the field for Neighbors,
if you can get a top tight end in the second round, because I don't know if there's any tight ends this year, like in the past, like the Brock Bowers or whoever you want to call as a top tight end that's been there. But I mean, at 5, probably Fernando Mendoza's going to go 1. Right, probably. Raiders are just gonna continue to keep themselves in misery for the next couple of years. There's only 4 picks between you and whoever's next, and you got Carnell Tate out there. He's 1. And you got Branch from Georgia, who's explosive. You just need 1 or 2 teams. You just need 2 teams to take a lineman, and you're riding the money for another premier receiver to match up with Malik Neighbors.
I don't think there's any question the Giants are drafting a receiver at their first pick. Because you got to also factor in, Eddie, I'm not so sure how Neighbors is going to come back. We don't really know because that was a really bad injury.
I think he's going to be fine.
I think he'll be fine too, but we don't these kind of injuries can resurface, right?
Sure.
And
there's always
it's good. It's good to have somebody there.
Yeah.
That could replace a number 1. Because as good as Wan'Dale Robinson is, he's really a number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
He stepped up, man, like a savage. He was awesome this year.
And he's been doing
really
that the last
awesome.
few years too. He's been in the building for a while. He's always produced.
I've always been a fan, but they really do need somebody to be paired up with Neighbors. If you want to go one more position, if they're not going to go receiver or free agency, if they want somebody, I would go safety or somebody in the defensive back. They have a lot of young guys back there who I'm not too happy with. But my number 1 priority would be receiver for the Giants.
Yeah, because I think you can draft later rounds. I mean, the Packers got Evan Williams in the 5th round, and he's one of the best young safeties in football right now. But to circle around back to the ACL thing, just because you make a great point with that, Christian Watson tore his ACL literally this time last year. He missed some time this year because it was so late, but he's outproduced. This is the best he's ever looked after. So there's reasons nowadays, if you're a young guy and you tear your ACL, it's almost like when you're a kid and break your wrist, it comes back stronger. He's faster and more explosive than ever. When you're an older guy, you're in your 30s and you tear it like a Von Miller tear, it's basically like, all right, you can go ahead and pack it up because you're all beat up in the knees there already. But when you don't have a lot of miles on the Ferrari, it can get stronger. It'll even sometimes elevate you, like I've seen with Christian Watson. So I hope Malik Neighbors comes back great, because I think we're supposed to play each other again this year. I think. I think so. Let me see. I got a text message here from it. Let me pull it up.
I you know what? I took a picture of the schedule. I got to say, I don't remember seeing you. Oh, wait, maybe I did see you guys on there. I had it somewhere. Let me just take a look. Yeah, I got it right here. Are we playing you guys? No, we're not playing you guys.
No, because I know we play the Cowboys. I figured. And I know we play the Panthers again.
Yeah, we get the Giants have, besides the NFC East, their schedule's not bad, man. The Browns, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Niners, the Jaguars, the Titans. Like, the Giants have a lot of wins next year, man. They should get, dude. And those are home games.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're in the same kind of position as, like, the Patriots this year, or even the Niners. The way the Niners kind of fell through, where you have a good enough record, maybe not to win the division, but you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this year might have been a blessing in disguise for them, because they got smacked around, they got beat up, they got toughened up, they see they can compete with the top teams. They got some easier games next year.
You couldn't ask for a better. One last thing to add on is just for the Giants, because you made just a perfect point there. You sharpened your teeth. You played through adversity. You competed. You weren't blown out in every game. You weren't getting treated like the Jets, getting 13 passing yards damn near every game. Can't get an interception. You have a lot of really good pieces there, and if you just draft, I think next year you should be looking forward to just at least making the wild card. I think, or making the wild card. I would think that's maybe an expectation, is setting it there. Is like, let's make the playoffs. I don't, worry about winning a division maybe the year after. Keep building. Because I think they did a good enough for you where they showed you they can be competitive this year. Now
Mm-hmm.
next year, I don't want you to show me you're just competitive again. Go make the playoffs, and especially with
Exactly.
that schedule looking like now, we never know how teams turn each other over. But if we base it off this year, you're looking at least 8-9 wins. At least, I would say.
That would be the goal, man, for sure.
That's it. Well, any last things there, Jeff, before we let these beautiful viewers of ours go for the evening?
No, I mean, that's it, man. I'm going to miss football for sure once it's over. It goes so fast, dude. Think about it, right? Like, it feels like yesterday was week one, and, here we are in the playoffs,
Yeah.
which is going to be fun, but it's depressing, man. That last game in February, the Super Bowl, it's a sad day.
That's the only downside to the playoffs is I want to enjoy the hell out of this week, because I know when I get to Saturday, I'm like, damn, I wish I would have enjoyed, like, thinking or talking more about the Packers, because after this year, it's all hypotheticals until, like, training camp. What if we get this guy? What if we do this? What if this? What is? And I hate hypotheticals. I hate the what if games. Just go out there and do it.
Exactly.
But I'm hoping I'm hoping my Green Bay Packers show up like they do. They're rested. All the main stars were rested while the Bears played a really tough game. So I think that's an advantage. I mean, Vegas sees them. And Vegas has them at like a 1.5 spread, which is a pick 'em. So that line will move. But Packers dominated these last two games. I think this is one where they put their foot on the throat.
I hope so, man. I'm pulling for you guys.
And not let them go, because I got beef with Seattle too. Seattle thinks I forgot about 2014. I ain't forgotten. All right, I need my get back.
You don't forget those. No. I have so many grudges, bro, from like old Giant games that mean absolutely nothing today. I can go down the list of games,
Seattle,
man. Down the list.
The replacement refs stole a fucking Super Bowl from us that year on
I remember
non-catch. So I got my receipts on them.
Yes.
I want one against the Niners, so I hope the Niners keep. I want to see Here's my love letter to football: Bears, Seattle, Niners to get to the Super Bowl.
That'd be beautiful.
I'd have a clean slate after that. I'd have a clean slate where I don't have any trauma from. I'm like, you know what? I got my get back.
Yes.
That's it. That's what I'm looking for. And Jeff, last again, let's do this again before the end of the season. If you got some time, it's always wonderful picking your brain about all things sports. But until then, we love you. God bless you. Goodbye.